I'm Casey Kaiser, and straight ahead on WVU News, I'll tell you about the new body camera technology the Westover Police Department is implementing and how it will change interactions with the community going forward.
I'm Natalie Bowman, and straight ahead on WVU News, I'll tell you about 3 murals that Main Street Morgantown has commissioned in the downtown area.
It's budget season, so I'll be digging into the details and telling you how the city intends to spend your tax dollars. I'm Zach Hawk, and our Emmy Award-winning WVU News starts now. There have been more than 100 mass shootings in the U.S. in 2021. That's more than one per day, and most of the targets have been victims of hate crimes. I'm Zach Hawk.
And I'm Jillian Winoski. More than 56 million people have now been vaccinated against COVID-19. How are local businesses and governments adjusting to our new normal?
These stories and more on WVU News, an Emmy Award-winning newscast produced by television journalism students right here at West Virginia University.
A white man in Georgia has been charged with the murder of 6 Asian American people. And sadly, this isn't the first case of violence against Asian Americans since the beginning of the pandemic, Zach.
You're right, Jillian. Violence against Asian Americans has risen more than 150% since the coronavirus was first reported in China in 2019. Our own Elena Degenhardt joins us now to tell us how this widespread violence is affecting people right here in Morgantown. Elena?
Thanks, Jillian. Zach. Since the start of the coronavirus pandemic over a year ago, anti-Asian violence and discrimination is a growing concern across the U.S. After a white man killed 6 Asian Americans in Atlanta 2 weeks ago, protests and vigils are taking place all over the country. They aim to bring attention to the crimes being committed against Asian Americans. Stop Asian Hate, a hashtag trending across most social media sites. This is following over a dozen incidents against Asian Americans, triggering from words like Chinese virus and Kung flu. Asian Americans like Annie McVeigh have been under attack since the start of the coronavirus pandemic.
An old lady stopped me. She was probably over 70. I'd never seen her before, and she stopped me when I was shopping. I was trying to get my chicken, and she said, "Your people are causing all of this. You need to go back to where you came from."
Research released by Stop AAPI Hate showed nearly 3,800 incidents reported over the course of last year against Asian Americans. Here at WVU, 1.6% of students are Asian American. In regards to the recent hate crimes against Asian Americans and other minority groups, there will be a march held right here at the Mound Lair on April 10th from 2 to 4 p.m. In this statement you see here, WVU is standing in support of the Asian American community. WVU Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Misha Poor, stresses the importance of safety following the recent violence and murders.
We believe in ensuring safety, and of just not just physical, but mental. And we know that this has been something that has been difficult for a lot of individuals.
In 16 of the United States' most populous cities, there were 120 incidents of anti-Asian hate crimes in 2020. This is an increase of almost 150% from the previous year.
We have to speak truth to the things that are impacting each of our communities, recognizing that everyone has a story and experience to tell. They need to be heard, they need to be listened to, and they need to be embraced in a way that allows them to feel welcomed, appreciated, and valued for every part of who they are.
President Joe Biden is urging Congress to swiftly pass hate crime legislation. Research released last month shows that there have been nearly 4,000 anti-Asian racist incidents reported, mostly against women, in the past year. If you or someone you know has witnessed a hate crime, you can report it at the link on the bottom of your screen.
Thanks, Elena. Asian Americans aren't the only minority group dealing with increased violence. Violence against African Americans has also risen, and their fight for justice has sparked debate over police accountability.
That's right. The odds for an African American man to be killed by police is currently 1 in 1,000. That's higher than any other gender or ethnic group. Our own Casey Kaiser joins us from Studio B to tell us how local police are reacting to widespread police brutality while trying to protect themselves and the community. Casey?
Thanks, Jillian. Zach, it's been almost a year since the death of George Floyd, the unarmed black man who was killed by police in Minneapolis. Floyd's death sparked Black Lives Matter protests across the nation and drew attention to growing concerns of police brutality. Now, the trial is underway for Derek Chauvin, the former cop charged with Floyd's death. Many people see this as not only Chauvin's trial, but a trial of police everywhere. As citizens are calling for more police accountability, one local police station is taking steps towards protecting both citizens and officers. I caught up with the Westover police chief to talk about the station's new body cameras. The Westover City Council has approved of a new body camera software for the Westover Police Department. Some Westover residents approve of this new software because of the protection it provides.
It protects not only the suspect, but the law enforcement, which is, I think, a plus all the way around. Then there's no discrepancies in anything that might have happened.
Back in 2020, Westover City Council rejected a body camera ordinance proposal. After appointing a new police chief, it was voted to adapt the new Axon software to bring transparency within the department. Now that the Westover City Council has approved of the body camera ordinance, the police department will be using the new technology to keep Westover neighborhoods like this one safe. The previous software allowed for officers to be in control of where the footage went and who could view it. This new software will allow for all video footage captured on the cameras to be automatically uploaded to a cloud system.
Well, people always wonder in the past, wondered what went on when an officer went to a call for service. Now we'll have it memorialized on a body camera, and the courts and the jury, when someone's arrested, they can look at the body cam footage and see exactly what happened.
Other Westover residents feel that the new software won't make a difference.
I don't feel unsafe with police not wearing body cams. I feel safe the fact that we have police.
The cost of a 5-year contract for the software is about $39,900. Studies show that while more than half of police stations in the U.S. require officers to have body cameras, only 5 states have laws mandating them. And in most places, officers choose when to turn their cameras on and off. Body cameras have also been proven to not prevent police brutality, but they do lead to more convictions, both for police and for private citizens. Back to you at the Waterfront Studio.
Thanks, Casey. Well, Zach, I've been hearing that the city of Morgantown is looking to find ways to spend our tax dollars.
You've heard right, Jillian. It's budget season, and I've been going over the proposal and taking a look at what the city wants to spend your money on in the next fiscal year. Thanks to your tax dollars, the city of Morgantown has prepared a $38 million budget for the next year. For downtown residents like Alex Capadona, addressing homelessness is critical.
If I could spend any money, I'd definitely spend it on infrastructure and programs for homelessness.
However, critical infrastructure repairs to city buildings before they become a larger problem is a top priority. City Manager Kim Hawes told me they're also very excited to move forward with the airport runway extension and development of the associated Commerce Park. He anticipates these being major economic drivers.
What happens with the airport over the next 10, 15 years is going to be very closely associated and tied to how we develop as a community.
Continuing to improve downtown and make it a great place to shop and congregate is also on the city's radar. The Metropolitan Theater is getting repairs, tree-lined streets are being developed, and artwork is popping up. The city also has a new and improved revenue source to help build the budget. Every downtown needs a point of pride, and for Morgantown, that might be this Ruby Amphitheater. Over the last year, this area has seen major renovations, and city officials tell me that they're excited to see people finally return here as pandemic restrictions are lifted. The city anticipates revenues returning to normal as health restrictions are lifted, and, most importantly, your taxes and fees will remain the same this year. The Morgantown City Council unanimously passed the budget in March, and it will go into effect on July 1st. While City Council was negotiating the budget, the state legislature passed a bill that has sparked debate over the rights of LGBTQ youth. House Bill 3293 would require students to participate only in single-sex sports according to their assigned gender at birth. It would prevent more than 1,000 transgender teens from playing sports. Experts at WVU's LGBTQ+ Center say that could be detrimental to the students' mental and physical health. Now, This bill hasn't been approved yet. It passed in the House and is heading to the Senate for final approval.
Well, Zach, many people are getting back out and traveling as positive COVID rates continue to fall. But many businesses that rely on tourism took a major financial hit in the past year, especially hotels and restaurants.
But Jillian, one local business was able to complete renovations and reopen under new management, and now they're ready for business. Our own Claire O'Neill joins us from Studio B to tell us how a Morgantown landmark has been restored with her segment, Storytelling with Data. Claire?
Jillian, Zach, the hospitality and tourism industry has seen a major loss in service during the pandemic, with hotels remaining nearly 500,000 jobs below the industry's pre-pandemic employment level of 2.3 million employees in 2020. However, as more people continue to get vaccinated in West Virginia, many are starting to travel again, and May just checking to the recently renovated Hotel Morgan. This 96-year-old building has been providing hospitality to guests in the heart of downtown Morgantown since 1925, and this 2020 version modernizes it, but still includes some of its historic charm.
After almost 2 years of renovations, these doors have finally reopened. On March 23rd, Hotel Morgan celebrated its grand reopening, with Governor Jim Justice in attendance, and visitors from all across the East Coast are now coming to stay and are more than happy with its new look.
It definitely has like the old and the modern, which I think is definitely something that people are attracted to in terms of like aesthetic, but they want that smaller town feel as well.
It's very stylish, has a lot of retro kind of elements to it. You know, the refrigerator looks like an old-fashioned refrigerator, you know, but little, small scale.
A bar and coffee area, 24-hour gym, guest rooms, boardrooms, vintage chandeliers, and a 3,200 square foot ballroom are just a few of the many things featured inside the newly renovated hotel.
More than a year ago, the hotel's only activity consisted of a liquidation sale to sell all historic pieces inside. Now it's back up and running and ready for the next visitors to come and stay for a night or two.
During the pandemic, the hospitality and tourism industry has seen a huge decline, with luxury hotels performing the worst, with only 21% hotel occupancy in December 2020, compared to 68% in December 2019. However, as more COVID-19 vaccines begin to be administered throughout the United States, Hotel General Manager Robert Mickey believes he expects to see more customers checking in sooner rather than later.
The West Virginia State Department of Tourism has stated that over 68% people in the tri-state area plan to travel 100 to 150 miles over the next 6 months, and we look forward to welcoming them to Hotel Morgan.
The last of the renovations is set to be completed in the fall, where another ballroom will be featured on the top floor.
Hotel Morgan and other hotels across the country are continuing to improve. Recent information from hotel data tracker SDR shows that over 21 million rooms were sold per week over the past few weeks, with hotel occupancy averaging to almost 60%. If you wish to stay at Hotel Morgan, you can reserve a room at hotelmorgan.com. Jillian, Zach, back to you both at the Waterfront Studio.
Thanks, Claire. Anyone looking to travel in the coming months may want to look into something many of us have passed over before: travel insurance. Travelers in the U.S. lost billions of dollars due to canceled trips and vacations in 2020 because of the pandemic. Now, agencies like AAA are helping people insure their trips to prevent major losses again. Experts say there are pandemic-specific insurance plans that allow for a full refund if you cancel because of an exposure to COVID-19. Now, insurance usually costs between 4 to 8% of your total trip, but experts say that extra cost could end up saving you hundreds or even thousands of dollars.
Well, Jillian, anyone traveling here to Morgantown, or anyone who wants to get out and enjoy the spring weather, will see a few additions to the downtown scenery.
That's right, Zach. The city hired some local artists to liven up walls and streets downtown. Our own Ireland Viscount joins us now to tell us what these murals mean to the community and how they can add some brighter color to your pandemic blues. Ireland.
Thanks, Jillian and Zach. Mental health experts say that looking at or even making art for just a few minutes a day can significantly lower your stress and anxiety levels. It may even lead to a longer lifespan. Natalie Bowman spoke with some Morgantown residents about these murals and how they can lift our spirits through this pandemic.
Main Street Morgantown has commissioned 3 new murals in the downtown area, and it couldn't come at a better time. With 68% of Americans reportedly not taking vacations this summer, the new art brings excitement and gives residents a new spot to visit.
Anytime there's art, even unconsciously, people notice it, people look.
Last June, the CDC stated that 40% of U.S. adults reported struggling with their mental health. In response, the Cleveland Clinic recommended art as a form of therapy. But art doesn't just bring happiness to its creator. And it's for that reason Jennifer Ramsey dropped everything to make this mural happen.
It's been absolutely lovely to see all the community excitement and support here in Morgantown for this mural and any future murals. I think it's a great town for it.
But getting a mural of this size painted beside a popular street takes a lot of steps.
Pleasant Street is one of the busiest streets in Morgantown, and all the grime and exhaust from these cars means that artist Jennifer Ramsey has to periodically wash this wall before she can paint on it.
Despite all this hard work, the artist says it's worth it to bring imagination to life on Pleasant Street. Natalie Bowman, WVU News, Morgantown.
Thanks, Natalie. You can check out these murals in downtown Morgantown. And for more ideas on what to do in Morgantown, visit the link at the bottom of your screen.
Thanks, Ireland. Coming up after the break, our own Catherine Harrington tells us about a local journalist response to being harassed while reporting on a story.
And sports anchor Kirsten Lindquist joins us to talk about a WVU faculty member being recognized for his work with the athletics department.
I'm Kirsten Lindquist, and coming up on WVU News, I'll tell you how our athletic director was recognized for his work here at WVU and in collegiate athletics. This story and more when we come back.
I'm Jillian Winoski, and coming up next, I'll introduce you to one Morgantown resident who changed his future by typing into the past. Our Emmy Award-winning WVU News continues in a moment.
When we started our journey, we had no idea where it would lead us. Until we found a place where experiences became a way of life, and connections became unbreakable bonds. For us, it's a second home, and wherever we roam, it will always be a part of us, the place we became mountaineers.
What do you think are the most dangerous jobs in the world? Most people say a police officer or a fireman. But what about being a journalist, Zach?
Well, according to the United Nations, journalism is now one of the most dangerous professions in the world. Catherine Harrington reports about a recent incident in Morgantown where a reporter was harassed for simply doing his job.
WVU police have charged 20-year-old Aiden Lillis of Connecticut with battery following an incident where a local reporter was accosted during a St. Patrick's Day party. WBOY reporter Alan Clayton says he was filming this large crowd on North High Street at a disassociated fraternity house where many members were not wearing masks when he was approached.
Some gentleman approached me and was trying to get me to stop filming and wanted me to delete the video. I explained to them that I couldn't. It was a Facebook Live. There was no way that I was going to be able to go back and delete it. It belonged to my company and that I worked for the news. And there was some pushing and shoving going on. They were trying to grab my phone, and that's when I tried to just get out of there.
But Clayton isn't the only journalist who has come under fire. According to the U.S. Press Freedom Tracker, in 2020 alone, there were 414 attacks on the media. But Alan says it's not the first time he has been threatened trying to report the news.
We walk into danger as a reporter. That's our job, is to be in danger a lot of the times. I try to do things safely as much as possible, but it's not always going to be the case. We go to shootings, we go to things that are breaking news that aren't always, we try to find a safe location, of course, and try to remain as safe as possible to still tell the story.
According to an article published by the United Nations, TV and local reporters are most vulnerable to violence. Some reporters have even started bringing pepper spray and a stun gun to protect themselves in the field. Clayton has been a journalist for over 10 years, and despite the recent incident, Clayton says West Virginia is his home, and he will continue to report the news from the state he loves.
My passion in journalism is to being able to tell people's story. I meet hundreds of people every year. Every day I meet a new person. And to be able to tell their story and to be able to showcase what's affecting them, what's going on in their community, and what's how can I make their life better, or what can I do to help them? That's my purpose, and that's my goal in life, is to be able to help others through journalism.
Catherine Harrington, WVU News, Morgantown.
Thanks, Catherine. Aiden Lillis, the person who threatened Clayton, is no longer a student here at WVU. And authorities are investigating this large crowd and potential violations of health and safety guidelines related to the pandemic.
Our athletic director, Shane Lyons, has been recognized for his work here at WVU at the national level.
Our sports anchor Kirsten Lindquist joins us now in the studio to tell us more about Director Lyons' award. Kirsten?
Thanks, Jillian and Zach. The National Association of Collegiate Directors of Athletics has named Shane Lyons one of 4 winners of the 2021 Athletics Director of the Year Award. This award highlights the efforts of athletic directors at all levels for their commitment and contributions to student athletes, their universities, and their surrounding communities. Lyons was up against athletic directors from more than 2,000 universities across the nation, and with such steep competition, I sat down with Shane and members of the WVU football program to see why Shane's work this year has made a lasting impression.
COVID-19 has brought major obstacles to universities and their athletic programs across the nation, and WVU's Shane Lyons has made an impact not just in Morgantown, but across the country, being named one of 4 winners of the Athletics Director of the Year Award. And this award means a lot not just to Shane, but especially to members of the WVU football program.
He and the entire oversight group have done a tremendous job helping the game through a really strenuous time.
As chairman of the NCAA's Football Oversight Committee, Shane Lyons is credited as one of the main figures in getting the college football season underway and completed. And his work has not only helped our football student athletes, it's helped shape the future of college athletics as a whole.
I mean, I think it really gave me the opportunity to do what I do here on campus and really kind of be one step ahead of, where some other campuses were because of the work I was doing on the committees and how we kept moving football forward.
Deputy Athletics Director Kelly Zinn says this national exposure will continue to put West Virginia sports on the map.
This is just a small piece of what we all see on a much smaller scale here at WVU, and now he's been able to gain some attention for it nationally. And so just a real nod to the commitment that he has for WVU and the character that he leads with.
Lyons says he continues to stay focused on his committee work nationally and improving all aspects of Mountaineer athletics, from in the classroom, on the field, and everywhere in between.
Shane Lyons also says the future is bright for college athletics, and he hopes as we enter the next academic year, we will be at full capacity cheering on the Mountaineers.
Thanks, Kirsten. Everyone who has been lucky enough to meet Lyons knows there is no one more deserving of the award than him. Well, Jillian, we all have our hobbies outside of our regular lives, but I wonder, what do you do for fun?
Well, Zach, I love to dance and listen to music, but nothing quite as unique as the story I'll tell you about today. I caught up with a Morgantown resident with a very specific passion: collecting typewriters.
With a clack and a ding, one Morgantown resident found his lifelong passion. Jet Morton began collecting typewriters after finding his very first one at a yard sale when he was just 7 years old.
I was a computer kid. I used to game on computers, and so I saw the keyboard, and my dad showed me it's a typewriter. You don't have a monitor. You just type right against the platen, you put your paper in, and that's how you type. And so I was intrigued, and my dad bought the machine for me.
Morton sought out to get as many Oliver typewriters as possible. Currently, the number is up to 54, and likely one of the largest collections in the world.
This machine was the first visible print typewriter, which means the typist could actually see the text while it was being entered.
His favorite machine is a 130-year-old Woodstock Oliver typewriter, as it's the only known version of this machine in existence. You may be wondering, how does he get these rare machines? He said his yard sale days are behind him, and he turns to the internet for more unique finds.
It has to be online because in town you won't find these rare machines that I do.
This hobby became less of a pastime in recent years as Morton began to make a name for himself in the typewriting community. He had a cameo in the 2016 documentary California Typewriter, which starred fellow collector Tom Hanks. Morton even has a book on typewriters titled The Oliver Typewriter Company, Machines in History, which he wrote at just 15 years old.
It has also allowed me to connect with many people all over the world and form friendships over a common bond of typewriters, something that many people don't typically bond over. And it's a really great experience to get to learn and meet all of the faces and hear the names of the collectors that have been around over the years, the new collectors and the old collectors, and especially as machines continue to trade hands, it almost gives a rebirth to the collecting community.
He said he hopes to continue collecting specifically Olivers in order to own one of every model, and he's getting closer every day.
Morton is also writing a second edition of his first book, equipped with even more information on the history of Oliver typewriters, along with color photographs.
You know, Jillian, it's so cool to see how passionate he is about growing this collection, but it makes me wonder, does he ever run into a rival at his bids?
He did tell me that he has been running into the same person when he goes to auctions. Well, that's going to do it for WVU News today. I'm Jillian Winoski.
And I'm Zach Hawk. You can visit us online on our website to find more stories that are featured in our Best of the Rest, done by our own WVU News reporters.
You can also watch all of our shows on YouTube. Please follow us and our reporters on Twitter. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.